Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I want to talk to you for a little bit about Earth Defense Force World Brothers, the second spin-off from developer Ukes, who made Iron Rain, which I remember not being too offended by. I thought it was alright. I didn't end up playing it to the end, but it was okay. There was always room for improvement. And then they announced this one, which is a combination of the first family-friendly Earth Defense Force game, which we'll come back to, but then it's also a gigantic crossover with not only a bunch of the different Earth Defense Force troopers from all the different universes coming together, but a bunch of, let's just be honest, we'll call them stereotypes. They are blatant, cliched stereotypes. And you get a squad of 4 of them, and you get to play Earth Defense Force with a squad of 4. And I thought, this has a lot of potential to be good. And it squandered almost all of it. So, outside of the fact that you're playing 4 different troopers that you can swap between at any time, it's basically no different from Earth Defense Force just in general. The AI on your co-op buddies is basically non-existent. They stand around for the most part, they get stuck on walls a lot, they don't even bother firing half the time. It's like, you'll look over at them, they'll look around for a few seconds, and then they'll be like, oh shit, I remembered I have a gun, bang, 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 bang. And then they'll stop again for about 30 seconds. And their shots will have either completely missed or be otherwise completely ineffective. And as a result, it really is just a regular game of Earth Defense Force. You can't order them to stand their ground. You can't order them to go on the attack. You can't even... You've got a button that lets you regroup them. But even if you do, they don't really do anything. They just stand there. Like, I'd love to be able to just press the button and be like, hey, everybody, just line up, fire at will. Because we got a huge horde of them coming at us. We need to take them out ASAP, but no, you can't even do that. So as a result, it just feels like another Earth Defense Force game. But it also feels like one of the worst ones because it's Ukes, and Ukes have never been particularly great at this. But there are multiple reasons for this. One is that the onslaught of bugs is just not as intense. Again, like in Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, they're just not very good at making very intense sets of bugs because this is running on Unreal Engine 4, and for some reason, instead of doing the Earth Defense Force thing, where lower frame rates equals more bugs equals more cool, they want to keep it as stable as possible. Now, I admit that there are some performance drops in this footage, but that was entirely because of the recording. I was playing it in 4K 60, and not dropping a single frame throughout, on everything being on the highest settings. It's about the same here, except that there's no shadows turned on, so I was trying to keep the performance relatively good, but something about this game and being recorded it just doesn't like. Otherwise, the port is okay. Plenty of graphics settings, sound settings, you can rebind the controls completely on mouse and keyboard and mostly on controller, although they recommend you use controller, so I did. Weird thing though is that there's a set of settings for when you boot up the game and a set of settings for when you go in. So when you change the settings outside, it won't work for the settings in-game. So you'll end up like having the sound be really loud and need to turn it down separately in the main menu and then continue on into your regular game and shit like that. It's weird. I don't know why they did it that way, but outside of that, the PC port seems absolutely fine. What about the changes they did make though? Notably, there are some neat little benefits to having this 4-soldier system. Each one of them can carry a unique weapon, and every single individual class, like say the pirates, or the yodelers, or the individual, like say, pale wings, rangers, and all that, they all have their own unique dodge and their own unique SP ability. And these aren't just like dodges, like they can be things like claymores, they can be things like rocket ships, they can be things like, the cowboy one in particular I actually really like, because he just has this full-on shotgun that he just blasts in front of him as he flies backwards. And they have some unique things like that, which keep things interesting. And being able to swap back and forth between these individual characters can actually create a lot of unique scenarios, like being able to swap between 2 jet fighters in order to get up higher and like shoot a mothership from top down. or diving into the action with a jet fighter, swapping to a melee fighter and throwing out a few shots, and then swapping back to a pale wing to get out. Just neat little things like that that you can pull off, and there are a heap of particular options for this, like laying down a bunch of mines or just doing a bunch of things like that. Just some unique strategies you can come up with. Unfortunately, it's let down by the upgrade system, which is an absolute pile of monstrous garbage in this one. Like, it's not even like Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon levels are bad, it's not Iron Rain levels are bad, it is just really bad on its own. So, if you've been paying attention to the video footage, and to be fair, this is kind of hard to notice, so don't take this personally, but if you've been paying attention, you will have noticed that enemies don't drop weapons or armor crates anymore. They only drop heals and SP charge. So, as a result, all of your upgrading is done via finding 3 brothers that have been dropped around the map every single mission. You just have to walk around the map, find these 3 soldiers, and then at the end of the mission, you'll be given those 3 soldiers. These soldiers can be unique, in which case you'll unlock them for usage, or they'll be ones that you've already had, in which case it'll upgrade the skill level of that particular soldier. And each individual soldier also comes with a weapon and an accessory, and it's the same thing. If it's a similar weapon to one you've already got, you'll get a level up on it. Otherwise, it'll be a brand new weapon or accessory. Decent idea in theory. Really shit in practice, because here's the thing about the individual soldiers. Right down to the individual skins. All the individual soldiers with their individual skins has certain weapons that they can use, individual durabilities, and individual special abilities. So if you find a team of 4 that you really like, but none of them can equip a sniper rifle, too bad. You have to swap out a member of your team and get rid of that particularly nice strategy you had going on. If you've got a team of 4 that you really like and want to be using later on, but you want to be upgrading their durability, well, if you have to swap out another team member for another weapon, too fucking bad. You're not going to be able to upgrade their durability at all. This isn't like Earth Defense Force 5, where durability upgrades are spread across like your entire set of classes. No. You have so many unique classes with their own set of weapons that they can equip, and their own set of special abilities. Now, if you really want to find out what's good and what's not, you will be spending a ton of time just going through all these unique classes and trying out their abilities and whatnot. And sometimes they can just be utterly useless. Sometimes they've just got a bunch of stuff that just isn't worth anything, and you just want to immediately be swapping out to something else. And the way that you let more classes upgrade to the point where they can hold more unique weapons is entirely random. Because every time you go into a mission, the 3 troopers that you've got in front of you are random. So if you particularly like the way a character looks, the guns they can hold, but you want to, if you like a particular character's special abilities, but they don't have enough armor, or they don't have the weapons that you want them to hold, too bad, pick something else. And as a result, making a team, selecting the team members that you've got available to you, picking out what special abilities you're going to want to have on the fly, picking out the weapons that you're going to want them to use, is an absolute drag, because you have to be looking at what weapons they can hold, what abilities they can have, and you just have to be constantly flipping these around as you go throughout the game. And as a result, it just ends up being really annoying. All of these individual skins with their own individual durabilities and their weapons that they can hold and their special abilities are just intensely annoying to do anything with. And building a team feels like swapping out your weapons in Shadow Warrior 2, or just having to run the numbers more than anything else. It means that I spend less time shooting mountains of bugs. It means I spend less time shooting mountains of bugs and more time just fiddling with the numbers. The only way that I can suggest to really get around this is always go with something like a Pale Wing, right? And always go around equipping the 3 dudes on the team before you end up actively doing the level, because it means that you'll get 3 random dudes and you'll be able to see what their abilities are, what their weapons are like, and just head on through with that. It also makes the game slightly more challenging because the game is way too easy. All 4 of your dudes have separate health bars, and they are very unlikely to be damaged unless you're the one controlling them. So you have a lot of survivability to work with, and on hard difficulty, it means basically nothing. Like, As I said, the hordes aren't particularly big. They aren't even that aggressive. And the weapons you've got are legitimately a bit over the top. There are some weapons that can take out entire enemy squads in one go on hard. It just feels like they give you the powerful weapons way too quickly. So I ended up playing with this one particular weapon that I got really early, which was a sniper rifle that could take out almost every individual mook in one shot. Things like red ants would take like 3 shots. It was also had 18 shots in the mag. It had auto aim, and it reloaded about 4 to 5 seconds. So it was like, all I needed to do for the majority of the missions halfway, not even halfway, like 1/4 of the way through the game, is just look at the horde, fire, like just continuously pull the trigger on the controller, and look away. It was so boring. It was immensely boring. Sure, there are some other weapons which are kind of neat and have some unique effects, including some ones that haven't been seen in this series before, like a Magnum, where you need to get really close in order to deal the most damage. And there are a couple of other neat little things, like being able to play as the colonists, but thanks to the fact that, again, they've got special abilities which might not be particularly good, and they've got weapons that can't be upgraded because you can't find those special DLC characters in the world, again, they just end up being useless on anything other than the early game. So yeah, it's just too easy. The weapons you get are too good. The hordes aren't that aggressive, they aren't that big, and they aren't that difficult. Hell, even the bloody big boss fights, one of which is in this video, just aren't that hard because they're not aggressive. Hell, the bloody hive takedowns are really easy too. All you need to do is find a little alcove where they're not going to shoot you because they just can't get in, they can't see you, and then just fire away and you'll eventually take it down. And the big Godzilla-like one, which is like one of the bosses from Earth Defense Force 2, all I had to do was just like very slowly walk out of the way and then just shoot it in the back with a Gatling gun. The AI felt like it was on easy difficulty levels in a regular Earth Defense Force game, but in this game that's what they get away with on hard. Now, there might be a reason for this, and that is that this game is meant to be a family-friendly Earth Defense Force game, and judging by some of the marketing fluff and what I got in the PR email that told me that I got a review code for this, was that this was meant to be like, intended to be one of your first introductions to Earth Defense Force. And to be fair, if you're playing on Switch, it absolutely is, because this is the first Switch Earth Defense Force game that they released. But they're also trying to combine it with a crossover. So it's like, you're going to be playing this, they're going to be dropping references to the fact that some of these enemies are from Earth Defense Force 3, some of these are from Earth Defense Force 4, they're going to be talking about characters like the Legendary Soldier from EDF 2, Storm 1 from EDF 3, and you're not going to know what the fuck is going on if you haven't played those games yet. So, most of the story ends up being about these other random situations that you get into, like how you end up with a fencer who's a bit self-conscious about talking to anyone because he got his entire team killed through his own mistakes. Or you're going to be talking about a maid cat cafe. Now, I am not one to go against using stereotypes to positive effect in your stories. I'm not that kind of social justice advocate, but even I can see that this is blatantly ridiculous, absolutely stupid, and just poorly written. There are so many stupid stereotypes. I might be a weeb, but the bloody maid sister with the cat cafe is just so cringe and blatantly, like, stereotypical that even I'm like, this is just stupid, why did you bother with this? Same thing with pretty much any of, like, the classes, whether it be the bloody Mexican one that's constantly got a headache and wants to go to sleep all the time. Or just the irony of a wing diver being afraid of heights that they won't shut the fuck up about because their voice clips are just constantly happening. Like, every single time you start firing your gun, or every single time you take off, or every single time you swap to them, you'll be hearing the same 2 voice clips. It's kind of impressive that they've actually got a set of voice clips for every individual class, but when they're all so blatantly moronic, stupid, just painful to listen to all the time, you start to become grateful that not every line in this game is subtitled. But even then, it just gets more cringe, like the Canadian bear who wants nothing but honey, or the, what was the other one that really annoyed me? Oh, the wing diver near the very beginning of the game, who would not stop using hashtag for the win, hashtag cringe, not hashtag cringe, hashtag creepy. Every, like, third word from this fucking wing diver was a hashtag, and it was just so blatantly cringe. Absolute cringe, and it's just so stupid. It feels like an EDF game for 12-year-olds. For 12-year-olds who do not have their own sense of humor yet. I don't know if this was how it was in the original game, but at the same time, they're also trying to have it be a family-friendly game. Meanwhile, they've got bloody maids going moe moe kyun and emblems that clearly have titties with nipples. And I just can't help but think, really? What are you trying to appeal to here? Is that old chestnut? You appeal to everyone and you end up appealing to no one. Like, go for the crossover, go for the family-friendly one. Don't try and do both. You'll just fuck up on both fronts, and that's exactly what they've done. And as a result, I don't like World Brothers. It's probably the worst spin-off of the lot. Yes, that is counting Insect Armageddon, because at least with Insect Armageddon, they were fucking trying to be Earth Defense Force. This just doesn't feel right. Along with just the stupid stereotypes, the really annoying having to swap out all your equipment all the time, your team, your equipment, your accessory. I actually like the accessories because they're just flat stat boosts and everyone can use them. That's the one thing I would bring over into the mainline Earth Defense Force games, but everything else is just like, it feels like pointless having to constantly swap everything around just because you wouldn't let me use every weapon with every character because of the skills and whatnot. Having them be like, having to swap them out to use specific weapons is annoying, but then having the armor be specific to every individual skin of every individual class is just even worse, and it just makes it impossible to decide what it is I want to be upgrading. And considering that you can only have certain classes equip certain weapons, and making it so that the certain classes that get upgraded be entirely random, so as a result, you just end up, like, randomly getting certain classes and using them just because they have more weapons available to them. It's just, it's a bore. It's really stupid, and it makes me less excited to play the game, because one of the best parts of Earth Defense Force is seeing just a huge stack of green crates and going, fuck yeah, new weapons. In this game, it just doesn't go like that at all. You know you're going to get 3 weapons, you know you're going to get 3 class upgrades, and most of them are going to be things you don't want. Whether it be upgrades to ones you don't want, new weapons that you aren't not going to use because they're just not that useful in the grand scheme of things. At least in Earth Defense Force, you would get like 30 different weapons in a mission, right? 30 different weapons means that there's a good chance that there'll be something useful in there, and you're constantly unlocking new ones with higher power because you're going through the story missions. This just feels absolutely random what it decides to give you. It doesn't feel like it has a proper progression curve at all. And as a result, it's just not fun. It also turns every mission into the same goddamn thing. Look around for your 3 dudes, then take out the rest of the horde. And it's not a very exciting horde, it's not very hard, it's not very aggressive, and considering that you've got 4 characters and they give you the really powerful weapons straight up at random, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna wipe the floor with all of these guys. And the storytelling and the voice acting, for the most part at least, some of them take their job seriously, but some of them are just cringe. Some of them are just boring stereotypes that we've seen a million times before. You could do something clever with this concept, but you just don't. And of course, it does look okay and sound okay, but of course, the majority of these are designs ripped from other Earth Defense Force games, whether it be the mainline ones, Insect Armageddon, or Iron Rain. And the majority of the music is just ripped straight from them as well. So you'll be hearing the tracks you've been hearing in 2, 3, 4, 5, Iron Rain, and Insect Armageddon in this one. At least they kind of let you, like, visit a bunch of different areas. Like, you know, you get to go to London, you get to go to Japan, you get to go to China, you get to go to the pyramids of Egypt, and you get to go to some of the areas from Earth Defense Force 4, was it? 4 or 5? Like, they've got exactly the same layout. I looked at them and I was like, yeah, this is exactly the same layout as one of, like, the dock levels from Earth Defense Force 4 or 5. But, at the same time, the levels are so small that you're going to end up seeing all of them, like, end to end just by standing even remotely close to the middle of them. And so the repetition starts to set in really quickly. Like, sure, the other games were repetitive as well, but because their maps were so big, they could set them from different directions and different angles and give you just a little bit of variety on top of that, and it worked. In this game, it really doesn't. You'll be seeing the entirety of the same maps over and over and over again because you have to walk around them looking for the, you have to go looking for the 3 dudes that drop in every single time, right? So you'll be seeing every single area, corner to corner, looking for these dudes. So yeah, I don't like it. The upgrades are boring. The shooting is okay, but it's boring because the hordes are smaller and the difficulty is less. And it just doesn't give you that feeling of trying to survive against the horde as much as a regular Earth Defense Force game would. And that's kind of the worst thing, because it's like, you know, if a kid plays this and like, I want to play this but harder, yeah. It's just, I doubt they're going to do that. And it's cringe. The writing is so cringe, and I'm worried that it'll make people think that it's like, yeah, this is what Earth Defense Force is. I'm worried people will play this and be like, so Earth Defense Force is this really cringy, stereotypical thing about a bunch of people coming together, and I'm like, no, it's a B-movie parody where they take things really seriously and it becomes really charming because of it. There's 4 separate classes, each with their own things to do, and not these 100 classes that you have to upgrade individually. It's got all these really cool robot designs that actually react in interesting ways, but these ones are just like, they'll just tend to fall over. The buildings are way more satisfying to destroy. Just everything about them is just more satisfying than this. And if they're trying to aim for this to be baby's first EDF, I don't think it's going to convince people to pick up the mainline EDF entries. And family friendly? Really? Like, what exactly is not family friendly about Earth Defense Force? Other than maybe being not great for arachnophobics. There's not that much in the way of strong language. The sexiest thing you'll see is the undergarments of a pale wing who needs to be light. At least, like, it's justifiable because pale wings need to be fucking light. They have jetpacks on their back. They need to be able to fly around as much as possible. So at least that's justifiable. And when it comes to violence, at most you'll be getting purple blood spread around the ground and insect limbs flying everywhere. Maybe the big frog dudes getting carved up would be a little bit bad, but I mean, even then, like, anyone above 10 years old would be able to play that and not particularly be disturbed by it. And anyone under the age of 10 is not going to get half the bloody things they do in this game because it feels like this is an EDF game aimed at 12-year-olds with no sense of humor. So yeah, that's it. I've got a bit more footage and I'll let you watch it, but yeah, it's about the same every time anyway, so maybe if you want to, like, this isn't even some of the most cringe writing the game has. Like, the entirety of the Akiba section is just like, no, please don't do this to me. This is just bad. You know what? I'll take the No, the screenshot probably isn't going to even explain just how cringe it is. Basically, just listen to the voice clips, especially like in the first section where I was carrying around the sister maid and she was constantly going, meow, and Moe cute, and no, it's dumb, it's bad, it's horrible. Don't buy this. For those of you who are playing on PC or PS4, you've got better Earth Defense Force games to play. Hell, I'd tell you to pick up Iron Rain over this, if anything. For those of you who are playing on Switch, don't, because you're getting ports of Earth Defense Force 2 and 3 relatively soon. So, yeah, don't bother with that either. And even then on PC, like for people who want to play like 2 or 3 first instead of like 4 or 5, wait for the Switch versions to come out and then play them on emulator, because the Switch emulators are actually really coming along. So you might, chances are you'll be able to play them straight up, like from day one, once the versions actually come out and they start like doing fixes. You never know. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.
Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
We're a team here.
I was wondering when you'd call me.
I'll show you how to fight.
I was wondering.
I'll show you. We're a team. Move over, laddie. The mothership is up to something.
It's that dark mist again. It's a monster!
It's a giant. Name this space monster Saurus. Blast off.
Terrifying. I've heard the rumors. I haven't been to be this big.
I'll show you how a true soldier fights. It reduced countless cities to ash. We need to stop it here and now.
When you'd call me. So long! Can't fly!
We're a team here.
I was wondering what.
We're a team here. And this. Get ready for a flogging. Or she falls. I'm captain now.
Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
We're a team. I'm in command here. Look at this. How beautiful. Watch out! If it steps on you, you're done for.
Time to light up the sky!
It'll flatten you like a spring roll back.
Commander, this is the that Saurus must be stopped here. I'll show you how a true soldier fights. I don't know if we have enough power to do this on our own.
ship is flying away. That dark mist. The same mist was coming from that last enemy. Report from the scout team. This area has been restored with the rest of the planet.
Hulda, we did it!
I never thought we'd defeat Saurus and fend off the mothership on our own.
Way ahead of you.
Two more motherships to go. Unfortunately, we were unable to locate the legendary soldier.
Too slow.
No, but we did better.
Slow.
We started a new legend.
Is that it?
Huh?
I'm in command
He
here.
never gave up, no matter how many times he was defeated. Now I know that you guys have what it takes to put the planet back together.
I'll show you how a true soldier fights. Way ahead of you. I got some good soldiers. Damn you!
If I'd known it'd be this easy, I'd have brought some entertainment.
If you vow non-violence to humans and non-obedience to the Hellions, then I will join.
Ni hao! Let's fight together and get rich while we're at it.
Looks like you need a strategy. What's the plan?
Roger that.
This is happy to go along with you guys.
Roger.
Okay. All right, let's go. All right, let's do this.
EDF's research unit is currently investigating the inside of a pyramid. We'd like you to lure out and exterminate all enemies in this area.
Sand's getting in my mouth.
Oh, this is ruining my costume!
Shucks, this is a doozy of a sandstorm. It's like being inside a tornado. Eat this.
Welcome home!
It looks like some enemies are hiding in the sandstorm. I'm getting signals on the radar. Be careful out there.
Yeah.
Eat this. Reload.
Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
I'm in command here.
There's still more enemies for you to clear out.
Blast off.
Don't worry. I'll expect it back in one piece. These guys just can't stay mention the aliens. It's not just a rumor. EDF researchers are saying there are hieroglyphics that mention alien UFOs.
What? That's some sort of food?
Thanks.
Hieroglyphics. Ancient Egyptian writing, for those of you who aren't educated. Finding and deciphering those writings may hold the key to victory against the aliens. Though deciphering them will be no easy task.
But come on now, ancient walls talking about UFOs? Sounds like superstition to me.
I was wondering when you'd call me.
It's too early to dismiss these claims as false. In fact, there are many scientists researching the link between ancient Egypt and aliens.
You mean ancient prophecies and out-of-place artifacts? I'll believe it when I see it.
I thought Americans liked that sort of thing.
Them stories are just for kids.
For now, let's just focus on getting rid of these baddies.
Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
I got this. Eat this! Eat this! Next round! Let's ride! The hell?
I was wondering.
Move over, laddie. Sorry, lad. Hey.
I'm in command.
I was wondering when you'd
Yeah.
call me.
I'll show you how to fight. Oh!
Oh! The sandstorms are clearing up.
I was wondering when you'd call me.
Look! The sky!
It's a group of UFOs.
But I was just starting to enjoy myself.
Try to be more careful next time.
Over here!
A vehicle has been dropped in the mission area. Try using it if things get out of hand.
Thanks. Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
Move over, laddie. Sorry, lad. So, 'tis me bad luck. Hey.
I'm in command here.
Black Skull! Fire in the hole!
We're a team here. Next.
I was wondering when you'd call me.
I got this. Let's have some fun. You ready? Over here. Take this. Last one.
Move over, laddie.
We're a team here.
Keep this.
Accelerate. Over here. Look at this. How beautiful.
Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
Yeah. We're a team here.
Move over, laddie. Sorry, lad. Oh! Sorry, lad. Hey. Sorry.
Over here! Thanks. I was getting bored back there.
Move over, laddie.
I got this. I'm in command
Move
here.
over, laddie.
We won!
Thanks. I was getting bored back
All
there.
right, we whooped him good.
Who goes there?
Huh? You say something?
Wasn't me.
Who has disturbed my slumber?
Where's that voice coming from?
Look! The top of the pyramid!
Some thieves have stolen from me during my eternal slumber.
What in tarnation?
I am Nefer, Pharaoh's sister and ruler of this land. I command you. I demand your help.
She's quite a character, huh?
She ain't a ghost now, is she?
I'm low on oxygen.
I can't defend the Earth, but I'll do what I can to defend the team.
I've always fought alone, and I'm not one for teamwork. Forgive me if I mess things up.
I have been chosen by the gods to defend the order of the universe. Now, kneel before me!